Good evening once again, and welcome to this special program brought to you by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, as well as the Government Communication and Information System in partnership Lidi Community Radio in South Africa. Good evening, Dumelang Absheni Leperile. Tonight, we are talking the National Action Plan, just like the NDP, the National Development Plan. Of course, this time around, we're talking a plan that will be able to combat racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance. We're talking about a plan that is being actioned from now in 2016 up until 2021. Welcome from wherever you are listening to. Ungasishayela ucingo namhlanje sikhuluma ngobandlululo khethollo. Have you experienced racism? Have you experienced intolerance of some kind that actually makes you feel like South Africa has not changed since 1994? Call us. Let's talk about that. And also, if you feel that your opportunities have not actually been achieved because somebody is standing on your way based on intolerance. We're talking about so many things. Some people will be saying, hey, the banks are not giving me loans because they're giving white people or they're giving colored people or Indian people, as we like labeling each other in this society before we could actually recognize ourselves as human beings. Let's talk about it. Today we have officials from the National Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. My name is Musotu Stone. I will be talking with the guests as well as you, wena Mureti, wena Mlaleli. So kuluma sonke, so that we make sure that we are able to reflect on the challenges that we are having. We have been exposed, or we have been consuming a lot of media products that are actually saying South Africa has not changed from 1994. People are still beating each other out of the pulp. People are still killing each other. People are still making sure that nobody actually goes up and progress in life simply because the piece of cake is not enough for all of us. But I believe South Africa is a big piece of cake where through tolerance we are able to support each other, to develop each other, to live with each other in harmony, the same way that our constitution would happens to be the most workable constitution in the world, that everybody actually envies that they had such kind of constitution. Well, I'm not going to be talking too much. I don't know much about the action plan. I got three well-vested guests who are actually going to take us through the National Action Plan to combat racism, racial discrimination, and xenophobia, and other related intolerances. We're talking tribalism here. We're talking about in the offices, there might be some kind of intolerances that actually hamper people to develop or to actually see themselves progress in life. And let me start with Ms. Danaline Fransman, who is the Chief Director for Social Justice and Participatory Democracy. Well, that's one very good title where you have to eat your school fees to actually understand it. Social Justice and Participatory Democracy, she will actually explain to us what does that mean. And also, along her, we have Ms. Elise Dutoy, who is the Deputy Director, Social Justice and Participatory Democracy. She is also from the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. And last but not least, we have an Assistant Director from the Department of Constitutional Development as well, Mr. Pumlani Majakajaka. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and it's such a pleasure to have you in our studios.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
All right. Now, let's talk about this National Action Plan. Like I said, it must be part of the National Development Plan somewhere, somehow, even though it goes up until 2021. Ms. Fransman, take us through the National Action Plan quickly and the abstract of it. What is it about?
Thank you very much, Masutu, and to all the listeners out there. As you've said, The topic tonight is the National Action Plan to Combat Racism, Racial Discrimination, Xenophobia and Related Intolerance. Now, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development is the department that has been tasked to lead the development and finalization of this action plan. We have now got approval for the process of public comment to commence on the plan, and that is why we are very happy now to tell people about the plan, what its purpose is, and really what it's about. So the plan itself is, as it says, a national plan for South Africa, for all in South Africa, to deal with the issues of racism, xenophobia, and all the related forms of intolerance. It is a plan that is being developed by government, but it is also a plan that needs to be contributed towards by all sectors in society, together with government, different sectors, civil society, and every person living in South Africa. The plan is aligned to the Constitution, so therefore it takes its cue from the Constitution, and actually it has been developed in response to an international obligation. The plan at the moment is in a draft form, and that is the purpose of why we want to raise awareness of it and get people to talk about these issues. We are aware of all the recent incidents that have happened in the country, and the plan therefore also is an opportunity or provides a platform for everyone in South Africa to dialogue about these issues, to share experiences, identify what the challenges are, and then come up with practical solutions on how to address and deal with these scourges.
All right. Don't forget to engage us, participate, or maybe ask questions. We have a toll-free number if you're using a landline, which is 0800 142 446. If you happen to be using your cell phone, do leave your number with our producers. Tonight, we're having Natima Zibuko as well as Shanine on the production side. You will be able to be speaking to them. I'm not the one who's answering the phones. So when you hear a lady's voice, please do not drop. Just speak to the lady. The lady will be able to transfer you into the studio. And that's 0800 142 446. However, if you are a social media junkie, go on to Facebook. That's Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, which is Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. On Twitter, we are at DOJCD_ZA. We are on DOJCD_ZA. On Instagram, we are at DOJCD. On Instagram, we are at DOJCD. Start typing through, and then we will be able to air your concerns. We will be able to air your comments, as well as if you want to speak directly to our guests, who are quite very knowledgeable around the topic, you are welcome to call us on that toll-free number. Moving on, National Action Plan to Combat Racism, Racial Discrimination, as well as Xenophobia and Other Related Intolerance. It's a plan that is still being taken out there, as Ms. Fransman has already said, that it's been taken out there for the public to comment, and it will be very much useful for us to comment based on the experiences that we have been having as South Africans all throughout, without being too emotional, because we know the experiences, of course, they've made us quite very emotional. But however, this is a scourge that human beings can actually win. Ms. Dutoy, tell us a little bit about the action plan itself. Ms. Fransman told me that it's about also considering other standards across the world and all that. Was there any local consultation before the communities are being consulted now? And or what kind of structures were you actually working with to actually come up with this?
Thank you, Masuto. We basically have a steering committee that comprises of a wide range of CSOs, civil society organizations, and we also have government on the steering committee.
Yes.
We also have Chapter 9 organizations like the South African Human Rights Commission, and there are various representatives on the steering committee. They assisted to develop the NAP. Furthermore, we did consult prior and during the development of the plan. We have various partners in civil society who works within the spheres of racism, xenophobia, and so forth. And we did go out into some provinces a few years ago as well during the development of the plan. So we did consult widely. We also use any opportunity we can to take the plan out. So if anybody calls us and say we have such as the anti-racism network these days, then we go and we'll do a presentation and we'll make the plan known to them.
All right. And Ntate Majagajak, talk to us about where this plan comes from, because South Africa is now 21 years old, and now this plan is only starting to materialize now. What were the challenges coming through with this plan, conceptualizing this plan?
Thank you, Msoto, for having me in the studio. I will start, my point of departure, I will start from 2001,
Yes.
whereby South Africa hosted a World Conference Against Racism in Durban. There, after the conference, there was the Durban Declaration and Program of Action, whereby Article 66 of the Durban Declaration stated that all states should develop national action plan to combat racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerances, and also develop programs and policies to combat all the scourges of racism. Then this is an international obligation of which all states should develop. This program started in 2008 in the Department of Justice, whereby there was an establishment of a secretariat that is going to coordinate the development and the finalization of the plan, of which this process has started a long time ago. That is why it's still a process now which has been approved by government to go out and make sure that we conduct everybody who's a South African. Because this national action plan is not only for government, this national action plan is for all those who are living in South Africa to be part and parcel of the process of developing it up until the implementation of it. That is where we are coming from. We have gone a long way in developing this plan because we have to go through the United Nations guideline on how to develop a plan for the country, of which all those challenges we have gone through, we have managed to make sure that we develop this plan up until to this level, whereby it has been approved by Cabinet last year in December. Thank you.
But you know, what comes to my mind now is that South Africa has experienced a lot of apartheid. South Africa has experienced a lot of segregation, a lot of intolerance. In fact, most of the world society got to know about this kind of scourge through South Africa. Now, if we are following an international obligation, are we not supposed to be in a position where South Africa is leading this thing, Ms. Fransman?
Thank you, Masuta. I think definitely so. And one thing that we want to emphasize is, obviously, as everyone knows, the National Action Plan itself has not halted a lot of interventions, policies, laws, and programs that have already been put in place by government.
Yes.
So there has, as has been explained, been some challenges in getting to the point of finalizing the document. But work has gone into it, and it has been updated, to reflect all the recent developments in the country. For example, the recent 20-year review report, the UN guidelines document that was referred to earlier, and as you mentioned right at the beginning, the National Development Plan.
Yes.
And in terms of the National Development Plan, Chapter 15, the one on nation building and social cohesion,
Yes.
the National Action Plan definitely is linked to that process in terms of the finalization of the plan and contributing towards, a country where we have equality, cohesion, and really unity in diversity. So I think the plan itself is really a sort of bringing together of all the different interventions that have already been put in place, and then ensuring that people are aware of it. And it is a plan that is actually, it's a long-term plan. It is going to be, let's say, for a 5-year period, whereafter it will then be reviewed. But we will be, as we go along, refining and revising the plan to reflect all current developments. And one of the things that the plan also envisages to do is to have a reporting mechanism for incidents. Because as we know, incidents happen. Firstly, people need to still be made aware of what their rights are. And once they know that, how do they access it? Where do they go? For example, equality courts or some of the institutions that have been set up in terms of the Constitution.
Yes.
So I think those are the practical things that the plan really intends to achieve.
Mm-hmm. And before we go to Anonymous to speak to us, Mr. Todd, maybe take us through a point where we are right now in terms of consulting with the communities. How does that process happen? Are you organizing meetings with various communities, or is there a way that maybe people are calling in to contribute towards this? Tell us through the process of engaging the communities, because I would want to believe that so far it's not yet passed, this plan, isn't it?
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
Yes. I think we are at the beginning of the consultation, so you got us right in the beginning.
That's right.
We have put the plan on our website, so it is available on the Department of Justice's official website.
Yes.
And the plan is open for comment and input until the 30th of June. However, the plan in itself, we should remember, it's not a tool that will be solving all our problems with regard to racism and xenophobia. So we still need to go out to communities and talk about these things.
Yes.
We would like to hear the stories of people where they relate regarding racism, xenophobia, if there's lesbian, gay people who's been exposed to discrimination. And those. We will also have, such as this radio show is one of the first big things that goes out to the public, and we are so glad for this opportunity because we really reach the grassroots with this show. One of the other things, there are various platforms that we use. Any civil society organization that would like to take the plan out and discuss with their target groups, we welcome that. We go to workshops, we have discussions, focus group discussions with students, wherever. There's quite a wide range of activities that's planned. There are quite formal workshops like with other government departments, because we cannot do it alone, and the plan, we are just the lead department. The plan doesn't belong to us. We want every government department, civil society, all Chapter 9s, as well as the public to own this plan. I also want to say, once the period for comment has closed, it does not mean that we are going to stop consultations. We would like every South African to know this plan and to say, this is what I will do in my small village or in my town or my community to address these issues.
Sort of participatory kind of process.
Yes, very much.
All right. Okay, we are on 800 142 446. It's a toll-free number from your landline. And also, if you are on cell phone, do leave your number. Shireen is going to call you back, most definitely. And I know she's been promising quite a lot of that to several callers who are already there. I believe from Tenendi, Reno Anonymous. Anonymous?
Hello?
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good in myself.
I am very well, sir.
Yeah.
Are you capable of being racist?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us more about it.
So I have experienced something.
Can you get somewhere where you can be in a proper network, sir? Okay. Try again. Try again from the beginning.
I have experienced something from the company.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you very well, sir. But not anymore, because I think you changed into speaker or something. Are you? Can you try again? Because we're struggling to get you because of the network.
Okay, hello?
Yes, now you're fine.
Okay.
All right. You can go ahead, sir.
I was just saying I experienced something from the company.
Yes.
Yes, there's something that our management, most of them, they are people from outside us. And then there's the employees who are outsiders. So what's happening, these employees from outside us are getting more paid than us and doing the same job.
We're struggling to hear you, Anonymous. We're actually struggling very much to hear you. So I think we're going to have to call you back and so that we are able to hear you quite properly. It's something to do with employment and all that. But however, let's wait for him. Shanine, if you can get Anonymous back again, and if we can make sure that his line is actually quite very clear for us to be able to hear what he's saying. And Tate Majagajaga, let's go into what does this plan cover exactly? Because sometimes we actually distort our understanding and comprehension of intolerance, of racism, because sometimes I might just be poking you and say, hi, how you doing? And then somebody says, he poked me too hard, he's racist. How do we define what the action plan is actually trying to achieve?
Oh, thank you, Msoto. Msoto, when we talk about racism, we can talk the whole day. But in short, I would like to mention that when we talk about racism is something which was institutionalized in South Africa.
Yes.
It was put on the paper whereby the black majority were not allowed to enjoy some privileges.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, when we talk about the issue of education was not equal with the whites, talk about the issue of healthy, those are the challenges we faced because of the laws which were implemented by apartheid.
That's right.
Because of such laws, now the black people felt being the visitors in their homeland, because they were not allowed to do some things which white people were doing. For instance, there were divisions. When it comes to transportation, there were areas where they were not supposed to go. They have to use passport, all that stuff. All those things has led to a situation whereby they were felt that they were very, very inferior in a certain extent that they cannot even stand up for their rights.
Yes.
That is why there was a struggle against apartheid, because we are all people, we are supposed to be equal in the hands of law. Wherever we go, we have to be treated equally. The racism government, the apartheid government brought legislation that has resulted in a situation whereby there were a land disposition whereby the majority of the black were not in possession of the land. When it comes to education, there were instances whereby you find that black people were not allowed to go to school with the white people.
Yes.
All those things were institutionalized. They were put in black and white. Of which case, those are the reasons why there was a rebellion against that government of apartheid. Another thing that is the real challenge when it comes to the racism in South Africa, it is not about hatred among the people. It's about the situation whereby there's inequality, there's, for instance, unemployment, there is poverty. All those things were created by apartheid.
Yes.
Because the majority of the people felt that they were not entitled to attain or to reach their potentials because they were oppressed by law.
And something to think about. Money has never been separated amongst any of the South Africans. Money has been the same, meaning basically we have all been the same economically to some point. However, the access is where the problem is, but we will talk about that later. It's funny how nobody actually wondered where this money I'm holding in my hand comes from. From a black person, from an Indian, from a colored, but it's a R1. Here it is. It works for everybody in South Africa, and the problem is we cannot actually share this R1 directly from one hand to the other. Think about it. Give me a call, 0800 142 446. The only thing that has been putting us together is this money that I'm talking about, currency called rand. And that itself, we don't care which shop it comes from. It goes from a puzzle shop, it goes right into a big retail shop, it goes into a car dealership, and it's still the same currency. Yet the same people who are using it are so drastically divided. 0800 142 446. Otherwise, you can reach us on Facebook, Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. On Twitter, we are at DOJCD_ZA. And then we are on Instagram at DOJCD. Now, let's once more, Ms. Dutoit, let's keep on defining this so that people are quite very clear. What are we dealing with here? Because 20 years on, some people might call in and say, I don't see any difference. And I believe the first caller was actually, I deliberately asked that question to say, are you capable of being racist? And he says, yes, based on the experiences that he was about to share with us. However, I wish, Anonymous from Tenendifa, you could actually call back and let's hear that story in terms of what led you to decide that you are capable of being racist. And to all those people who think maybe you are not intolerant somewhere, somehow, think of tribalism. How much as a Zulu speaker do you relate with the Tswana speakers or with the Pedi speakers or with the Xhosa speakers? We once had a big fight before 1994 where it was a black on black violence, simply because now here is power and we are about to have it, and now all of a sudden some tribal constituency is actually against another tribal constituency. And I'm not going to say much around that because some people might think it's quite political, but it had nothing to do with politics because people wanted the same thing. Now, why did it happen? Why are we still intolerant of each other to a point where some people lost their lives? Some people are paralyzed. Some people are handicapped because of the scourge that is in our hands, in our minds, in our souls, that is actually not being threshed out between the groups that are actually intolerant of each other. Now, Mr. Todd, I just actually... Okay, Anonymous is back. Anonymous? I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm happy. I'm wonderful.
Aw, siyaphila ba. Yeah, I wish this time around we are able to hear you well. Okay, talk to us, Malum.
Okay, ngithi kune company
Yes.
yebo engingaba ne experience yezinto ukuthi kwahlukaniswa laba abale.
Yes.
Ukuthi
banihlukanisa kanjani? Banihlukanisa ukuthi mawukhuluma inkulumo ethize uzoya le, mawukhuluma le, o bebanihlukanisa kanjani? Bebathi banihlukanisa kanjani?
ihlukana kanjani ngama salaries?
Oh.
Ama lower salary because laba management yabo ama employees wabo abantu. Because ama salaries are low. The company but laba noma ngaba yafika ama salaries wabo high.
Yes.
Ngoba uthi akhala uvela ukhonza.
Wow. Hey. Indeed.
Manje situation njena ukuthi angazi uma umele ucomplain ngocomplain akho ngoba noma ungathi uyagijima uya kuma labor yama office wakhona ngeke izinda uyophela phela lapho egcineni wena uphela umsebenzi.
Yikho lokho konke ba.
Ya so ngicela ukuthi mhlambe ngazi ukuthi khona la mhlambe kunendlela indawo la mhlambe ngareport khona ukuthi njengalezo kunendlela mhlambe ngaluswa ngayo na.
Okay, ngizocela ulalele ku radio baba and then you can get your answer.
Okay.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. All right, Tate Majakaja, that's Anonymous. And I would like us to align what he was commenting on, which is he was working at a certain company, or he's still working at that certain company. Now, what happens is that they were segregated according to their salaries, according to how much they earn, and they will be treated differently. Of course, probably he was on the side where he was feeling ill-treated. Now, when we align this to the plan, how does the plan respond to such kind of situations? Because this is reality.
Thank you. But actually, the plan does talk about the issues of labor relations,
Yes.
of which it was already stated clearly that this is a policy framework to assist South Africa, making sure that everybody feels equally and they enjoy democracy. When such discrimination is happening at workplace, it is very important that they need to go into the table and have a discussion with employers so that they can be on the same page. It is not good whereby you find that people, they define come to salaries, of which they are working for the same company, they're on the same level. It is important that they focus on the labor relations. The labor relations of 1998 state clearly what are the rights of the workers, of which in the plan, we have stated clearly that the plan is a policy framework. Government has developed policies, legislations, and programs to make sure that people, they enjoy their fundamental human right.
Yes.
Whatever violation of the fundamental rights is about the Labor Relations. The Labor Relations Act is there to address such issues. That is why we've got CCMA. That is why we've got the Bargaining Council. Those are the channels that has been brought by the government to make sure that wherever there is a complaint, you go to your union, and then if the union can take it up to the Bargaining Council, you can take it up to CCMA. There's nobody who's got the right to fire anybody because the person is complaining about the circumstances at work. I think that is his fundamental right to go and complain. If you get fired at work because of what you have complained and you have justified your complaint, that is a violation of human rights and is a discrimination at work.
That's right. We're talking more about what's on paper right now. However, we will talk about the issue of commitment, which is one big challenge for this course. And we will talk about that a little bit because since 1994, there seems to be a lot of reluctance from a certain group in the society. I'm not going to say either white or black or Indian. We know about these things as they happen. We read newspapers. We have seen, and there is a Sterkfontein issue where people were asking for accommodation and people were deliberately turned down simply because there was a cause of saying, we are not letting this group come in to stay here. We are going to only let this group. And it was done institutionally. It was done constitutionally because somewhere, somehow, the contradiction that exists in our constitution, we need to actually deliberate on that and see how the plan is actually going to remedy that. However, let's speak to Lydia from Mafikeng in Northwest. How's Lydia? How's Lydia way?
Hello.
How's Lydia? Lekai?
How
Re teng me.
Amen.
Ra go amogela gape.
Ke a leboga ke di jang kwetso from Mabatho FM mo Mafikeng.
Bua le rona mme.
Now, what can I say in just in short?
Yes.
What is happening? I can work our national development plan.
Re bua ka party ya National Development Plan, which is National Action Plan a dealing against racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, kore kgethollo ka kakaretso. That is the plan that we are talking about. It's part of the National Development Plan.
Yeah. Then on next, I was just looking for, from the beginning, how because our country still very confused. Why, Baba, the answer. But anyway, next time, it has been done already. So even the fine, and then so as a country, although we like it, we don't like it. We have to submit to it. That is the first problem here. We have now our country because now it's like, okay, fine, everybody's coming here in South Africa.
Yes.
And if you can see, Mr. Mandela, that time, released, he was releasing us, I can't like what we were released from Nixateni more today, Kazana, Nixateni School today, Kazana, things like that, but now I cannot, Mr. Mandela, Unarokolula, because that is why we are still suffering from these things because he delivered us only physically. But I just want to physically, right, we can do and it's now, yes, it's still like the same thing, but that is why I always like more spiritual. If our spiritual life can be good, then physical is very easy. Because if you know, our plan in South Africa, I don't believe like currency, like you were saying, everything is going down, what. But in our plans, why go sa bile melao e meng e ntshwa mo dibaebeleng gore serious guy fela se one about money
we sobokanya ka pelenyana Lydia ke re khona re fe ba bang chance
yeah
okay okay mo fa chance gape Nathi
hello
oh Tshepo
hello ntate dimela le ka
batla ba khaola Lydia botlhoko batho ba ka re ga ba utlwisitswana
ao bathong
batla ba mo khaola ra santsana bua tshontsho a feleletse ga se ka mokgwa motho a khaolwang ka teng tota bua le rona Mr. Tshepo
ntate ke Tshepo mo Tlezopo mo bua Tshepo re ditse mo life FM mo Tlezopo ntate we na tsutse tsa ka dipedi mo topic ya rona ena ke nagana gore dilo tsa rona dipedi sa pele ke na gore puso ya rona e sentse re itse gore mona dilo tse ngata tse re ka di kgona re ka di bua re di etsa but ntse re tlhokang thata ke gore puso ya rona se ya mogele gore e hloka the spiritual leaders tlhoka ba dilo tse ka fela tsena re ka di tlhola ka thapelo re ka di bua re di pepesa re di bua re di etsa but pheletse gore ha re sa invite modimo mo gare ga tsona ga o fela tsa re ntse re di bua go etsagala mare re sa kgone go di tlhola se ka itate re kgona go kopana go dikerekeng ba le ba so botlhe ba mmala botlhe go kopane re le ntho e le nngwe e palla kae re le selo re kgona go etsa re ikeke re kgona go kopana le batho ba ka ofela batho go kgonagala ntho tse di a kgonagala tsena but yaanong a puso ya rona e kgone go involve ntho se ke ka mogare gore ntho tse ka ofela tsena di kgone go tlhola dintho tse ka ofela because e le yone le puso e ka se ke ya kgona and then ya bobedi gape le rona batho ba rona ba mo South Africa re tlhoka ntho e wana re itse gore ya xenophobia re bua the thing gore bona ntate le modimo ile a bua a re ngata re ntla fa re tla le fatshe lotlhe re ka se ke ra dula mo South Africa mona gape le gare bele sanya le lenyala le tla le nyetse gaita di a lona
bo bene plus ba bolaisa rra
ntate
ke ka mogwe ba gore bo bene plus ga se tsone
ga se tsone ntate ke batla go dira mo ntse mona but ma Africa e tla sentle ba tsile kwa le batla mo ba nna ba ga ba botswa ntate ba tswa mo ba tlo ira batho ba rona mo so le rona go etsagala gore wena o tswe le mo South Africa man ntate o ipone o le go Kenya maybe o na le business ya go etsona go selong kwa go kgonagala so but the thing gore rona mona o batla go ntse mo South Africa o dikile za mona bona gore mara matswantle a tlo re tsela mosebetsi wa ile wena o sa go Kenya kwa yo go batlela mosebetsi go Kenya kwa le go phela mosebetsi go Kenya kwa wa ile wena o sa tswe go Zimbabwe go phela mosebetsi go Zimbabwe o ile bona ma Zimbabwe go Zimbabwe kwa o kgona go ba ile tena o kgona go ba ile e kgona e etsa gore ba ska fetsa batla gona ba la ba ke tse o kgona go ira go bula mosebetsi go Zimbabwe kwa so go complain re batho ba etsang a gona go thusa sepe a re tswe mo ga ntho ena o kgona go tswa o ska tlholo ikagetse le gora o sa batla go tsama o ditsela mo gare mo ona o iketse le bene plus ha e sebetse ntho yonta
ha e berekera
a ka sana e berekile ho ang a re tsamaye mazaretlo lo complain re go na gentse ha batho ba tlile mona re bona re sa ikona gentse bone re go etsa di business go re ba hire le rona a re ba hire le rona kwane ga re ba re ya mona a rona re ikona gentse bone re tsene sebisi go re ba hire go and ra puso rona le one re bitse batho ba etapele se se re tlhola ka thapelo tsena ntatwa
ke lebogile morena Tshepo.
Thank
you. And then from Klerksdorp Northwest, we're moving to KZN. Mrs. Majola from Dwedwe. Mrs. Majola?
Yebo sabona baba.
Ninjani ma?
Siyaphila baba ninjani?
Siyaphi.
Ukhuluma nomama uMajola baba lapha eNdedwe.
Ma.
Ngikhuluma ngilalele emsakazweni isiyathuka 97.6.
Siyabonga impela.
Ngiyabonga baba. Yabona isihloko lesengikhuluma ngaso sisensitive kakhulu. Angazi Nkosi yami ukuthi bengenza kanjani ukuthi thina abantu sigcina sibe munye sibambisana. Kubuhlungu ngendlela eyisimangaliso ukuthola abantu bephila ndawonye behleli ndawonye kodwa uthola ukuthi abezwani ngokwembono nangendlela abaphila ngayo. Kubuhlungu ukuzwa ukuthi kunabantu abashawayo ababulawayo ngoba umuntu esuka ezweni elithile. Uyabona lolu hlelo baba abakhuluma ngalo ukuthi bayazama ngiyafisa ukuthi engaba impumelelo ukuthi ekugcineni sigcine sazi ukuthi sonke singabantu asiphileni kahle siphilisane sihlephulelane esitholayo. Siyabonga kakhulu baba.
Siyabonga mama Jola. All right. Thank you so much to the three callers, and we would like to apologize to Auslidia for being rudely cut that way. And hopefully we actually got her sense. I was actually, you see, some of our people sometimes to express themselves, it's not like English. We're not edited. So they need some bit of time to actually express what's in their mind. And that's what I believe Auslidia was doing. However, Auslidia was talking more around this thing not being able to be resolved since the beginning of time. Now, it's got the historical connotation in it. It's got all the economical connotation. However, mainly so, it's got that social connotation where, mainly so, to black people in most cases, for example, it's to aspire to socialize with the whites. Either to go to school with them, either to get the same privilege that they have, which I'm not sure where the whites are getting it from. Are they building it themselves, or are they actually getting it from someone? That's one question that I want all of us to actually ask ourselves. Are we taking over from the whites as a black government since 1994, or are we starting over to work with whites to actually make sure? These are some of the questions we actually need to be asking ourselves. And I believe the plan is an initiative. Auslidia, I want to actually say this one to you to say. The plan, as we were saying, it's an initiative which is still in process of consulting you, Auslidia, and your community members. Because she was mentioning that the plan is already there. There's nothing that we can say. But I think she's coming from a point where she's thinking the plan has already been passed. It's been approved, which I want to emphasize that nothing is not yet approved. But however, talk to her about, maybe Ms. Fransman, Ms. Dutoit, talk to her a little bit about the connotations that I talked about, the economic part of it, the social part of it, which is mainly something that actually boils our blood, all of us, irrespective of what kind of origin are you. But we're still human beings anyway. We think about these things. Take us through that a little bit, man.
Okay. Thank you, Masutu. I think it's sad to say after 22 years since democracy, we still have inequality. Mm-hmm. And it's easy, on the other hand, once you have reached a certain position, a certain financial position, it's as if you are equal. Mm. You just accept that status that I'm equal to everybody. Mm. But there's such a huge part of our country's people who live an unequal life every day. They are exposed to this, and as my colleague said earlier, poverty is one of them. The economic injustice issues is another one. We have education. You know, as you say, that we black people to go to the schools, the way white children go, but we don't have in those schools so many children per class. If you can pay, as I say, if you have a certain living standard, you are more equal almost than others.
Exactly.
And it makes you more acceptable. It's easier to mix. But it's not only those groups that we target. We specifically target, and for us, Lydia, I want to say, don't stop believing, because the fact that you phoned in, tell me and us here that you are interested, you did listen to this. And now you know there's a national action plan, and with the emphasis on action, you, as Lydia, in your village, in your community, you can become the person who will say, this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to address this inequality. That is part of what we said earlier. The plan should be owned by all in South Africa. Not only citizens, even non-nationals, foreigners who are here, migrants, whoever, any person, whether with a disability, lesbian, gay, whether we accept each other or not, this plan belongs to everybody. And everybody has a responsibility to make this plan their own and to say, this is the action that I will take to address these issues. Right. We each have to be responsible for that.
Okay. And Ms. Fransman, Tsepo brought in the spiritual component. In terms, I know the law, as we were talking last week as well, that the law does not actually entertain much in terms of religion. However, religion is part of people's daily life. And for me, that's where we are missing the point. Am I wrong to think that way?
Well, I think religion is one of those many touchy, sensitive topics. I mean, it goes to, as you said, the core, the spirituality of a person. But the Constitution does protect the right to practice your religion, your culture, your language of choice. And therefore, it is the responsibility of everyone, as much as you're entitled to right, is also to respect the rights of others. The other point that you raised about the social aspect, I think that's a very important one. I mentioned earlier we have the Constitution, we've got the Equality Act, which is aimed at promoting equality and preventing unfair discrimination. We've got the Employment Equity Act, many pieces of legislation that have been put in place and passed since 1994. But the problem is that you cannot legislate attitudes, beliefs, and prejudices. And I think that is what we are mainly, at this point in time still dealing with, is how do you overcome those things that have been learnt, those things that people have learned through socialization. So I think that is the challenge that we have to do. How do we share spaces? And this can start only through conversations, dialogues, working together with people, and also starting in schools. I mean, that's where our youth would be found, and I think it would start at that young age to tell people about their rights, about the Constitution, and where people would learn, or students would learn to socialize. And I think this is one of really the main challenges and what we would want inputs on. And definitely this plan, it's a draft plan. The whole purpose of going out is to get people to talk, to share their experiences, and how can we make this a plan that works for South Africa.
All right. 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Renee from Uppington, I am not going to speak to you as yet. I just need Ntate Majaka Jaka to actually take us through the point that Umam Majola was actually highlighting, to say one of the challenges that we have as South Africans is that we have not, even Tepo actually was mentioning that, to say as South Africans, we don't travel much. Let alone coming from KZN, taking a holiday in Northwest or going to Northern Cape. Most of the KwaZulu-Natal people azange bayibona the north part of South Africa. It is a fact. Most of the people in Limpopo have not been to other parts of the country. I'm just making examples. I'm making sure that a fact is that most of the South Africans don't even have the means mentally, soulfully, and economic to actually move from one part of the country to the other and just to explore what are fellow South Africans doing outside there. Is that one of the challenges that actually lead us to being intolerant?
Thank you, Chief. Actually, I'll start by saying that there were fault lines that were created by apartheid,
yes,
of which those fault lines were still grappling with them as the black majority in South Africa. As we were deprived to be part and parcel of the economy, as we're deprived from education, as we're deprived in anything that is developmental for a human being, those were the things that we are still trapped with them even today. That is why we see all these disparities between our people. You find that there is tribalism. It was caused by divide and rule, which was done by apartheid, so that we as black Africans, we have to hate each other. You see, that was created. That was a good strategy to defeat the majority. That is why they managed to rule us for a period of time under that oppression. It is through the fact that the social and economic exclusion still exists within our communities. That is why it is very, very hard to find someone traveling all over the country. Some people have never even bought a plane. You understand? Those are the challenges we are still grappling with them. While we see what is happening on media, people are undermining each other, are discriminating each other. Those things, there are some underlying factors of which as the country we need to deal with them decisively.
Yes.
That is why I mentioned the issue of social and economic exclusion. If we can deal with those things, I think we can be on the same level, whereby they will try by all means to alleviate poverty, to reduce unemployment,
yes,
and make sure that the people, they understand, they respect each other, their culture, their norms, and their values. And then we can have a rainbow nation, which is envisaged by South Africa, and the developmental state we wish to envisage to be. While we find that majority of the people, they live by food parcels.
Yes.
Those are the challenges we're facing, of which the government has put some measures to make sure that we overcome such challenges. It is not something that can be done overnight. That is why we have National Development Plan. That is why we have programs in place which are done by government working together with civil society and other sectors of government.
Yes.
Thank you.
Talking about civil society, I would really like to be specific on one point where our political approach in terms of the political parties, the civil organizations that are actually focusing more on political components of our country. In most cases, we hear that one party is too white, therefore we cannot vote for it. The other party is too black, we cannot vote for it. The Indians are somewhere in the middle, and they even harm the national anthem. I'm talking about identity. We will come to that one just after we speak to Renee from Uppington. How are you doing, Renee? Renee. Okay. It looks like Renee has left us alone now. Call us back, Renee, and let's talk about that. Today, the National Identity Campaign was launched in Soweto. And now, it brings me to several components that I always think about. Whenever it's Freedom Day, and it's happening somewhere in a stadium, you see a lot of black faces. The only white faces that are there to provide service and gain money. We do not see people who promote South Africa's identity. Something where we all supposed to be known. Trevor Noah actually once made a joke about the national anthem, where he says, the colors and the Indians, they just go like, and they just hum. And then you hear the last part of the national anthem, let us live and strive for freedom. Everybody goes in there with lots of oomph and everything, because that's the only thing that they understand from our national identity through song, which is the national anthem. Now, the plan itself, we're talking about commitment, because I believe people know these things in and out and they know the experiences. Now, how do we get people to commit through this plan? Mr. Toy?
I think this is the most
It's quite a
difficult
rocket
question.
science on that one. I know.
And being of the group, of the race group who do not support these national days, one of the things we've been grappling with, wherever we go, wherever you hear in the news, in the media, one of the ministers said recently as well, where are the white people when we celebrate these days? Do we not, doesn't it mean to us what it means to other people? It's also sad because I think National Bride Day is supported by the group of people that you would like to have at stadiums.
Oh yeah.
and that's not even a national day.
Yes.
I think this is one of the big issues, and with that, if I talk about our government partners, this is one of the things that's being addressed in the national curriculum. Children are taught about national days, and I think it should be built out that children know from a small age, on this national day, this is what we celebrate, this is what we're supposed to do, and go there. And schools can play a huge role here. If we struggle to get the adults there, I think schools can assist, universities.
Yes.
We can celebrate on other platforms as well. We do not always have to go to stadiums. So we should find something where we get the middle class, where we get the other race groups, and where they can give value to these national days as well.
That's right. I would like to hear from the listeners. Why are you still living in South Africa 20 years on, yet you are still bilingual when there's 11 languages? Is there a challenge that actually is influenced by intolerance, or is it influenced by racism? Why are you still only speaking English and Afrikaans? Why are you only still speaking English and isiZulu? And why are you still speaking Setswana and English? Talk to us about that. What are your challenges? So that maybe we can start influencing this national action plan against racism, racial discrimination, intolerance, and all these other intolerant behaviors and shenanigans. I like thinking it's more about shenanigans and being naughty, actually, because everybody has a way of actually controlling themselves to a certain point. They are able to do it for the interest of their life. Why cannot you do it for the interest of the country? If they have to chuck you out of South Africa today, do you have a plan of where you're going to go? You have only this land to protect because it is where you are. Vusi from Soweto. Thank you, Vusi, for dropping. We're moving on. The commitment. Let's still get into this commitment because I'm making examples so that we move towards the committing of people towards, first and foremost, listen to me, first and foremost, contributing and participating towards this action plan to be successful and representative. That's one thing. Talk to us about it. Now, I'm still back into commitment. I mentioned the Sterkfontein issue. It was very much into the media, and it was very much into the media, Ms. Dutoit, Ms. Fransman, that me and my colleagues, once upon a time, she was looking for a flat. She calls, and the lady on the other side, you could hear through the accent that she was African speaking. And she said, no, sorry, the flat has been taken. Then we get the actual person who is African speaking, white, to call, and immediately the flat was available. And we started questioning that, and she's like, no, the board members have agreed. Now it's becoming institutional. How are we going to penetrate such kind of barriers through this action plan to ensure that we are able to diffuse all these opportunities that are being taken from our very contradictory constitution? Because obviously somewhere, somehow they are right constitutionally, and now you have to spend a lot of money going to diffuse that into court. How are we actually going to get that right?
If I could come in there, I think, we spoke about the issue of education.
Yes.
People need to, be de-educated, if you want, and then to be re-educated in terms of what does the Constitution as the supreme law of the country say? As I said, rights and responsibilities. But I think there's also so much that can be done in terms of raising awareness and conversations, and that is why we do have, for example, the Equality Act. We're talking now about redress. What can people do when rights have been violated? So we do have equality courts in all of the magistrates' courts across the country, where people can go to lodge complaints. They can also go to, for example, the Human Rights Commission or the Gender Commission, who are mandated to assist people to take such cases to the Equality Court.
That's right.
And at these courts, there is no need to be represented by a lawyer. And there are staff members at the court who are there to assist people with these cases. These courts or the magistrates as the presiding officers have wide powers, to make various kinds of orders. We've heard about cases of the apologies.
Yes.
They can be ordered to pay money or compensation or mediation. So those are very useful and important places where people can go. And as I said earlier, again, the issue, the commitment, it's this document which is aligned to a number of other existing programs. It is for the future. It's for us all living in South Africa. We need to really take it seriously, comment on it, engage, have conversations, starting within the home to the community schools and out across broader society. Because I think, if we're talking, commitment, it really goes from the bottom all the way to the top. And I think our government has committed. It's got this plan in place. It's aligned to the National Development Plan. And it's now up to each and every one of us to make it work.
All right. Quickly, let's take Vusi. Vusi's back. Vusi?
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Vusi?
Ngiyaphila baba Msuthu.
How ngiyaphila na.
Yeah.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I've been holding on too long. I thank the panel. I am one of the people who are doing the DEC program, which is being implemented by the Department of Community Safety.
Yes.
We run the victim-friendly rooms at the police station.
Yes.
I haven't sent anything so far. Now, my issue is that most of the people that come out and who are being molested and their rights are being abused according to the Constitution are people from outside. And sometimes we don't even know how to deal with it, because sometimes the very people who are abusing them are the law-bearing people.
Yes.
So I would like very much to get the communication with the panel that you are sitting at, so that I come there and with my organization. I'm from Lifeline Johannesburg. We are running the victim empowerment rooms, and we are doing very well as far as I'm concerned to assist the police to do their work, to apprehend the criminal.
Yes.
But we are much more friendlier. We can listen to people. So a lot is being put on the police to address issues that are not even related to their training. So we are trained to accept anybody who comes there, but we don't know the platform. I'm surprised today that there was a day that is so relevant in our constitution today. So really, I would really appreciate if I can get in contact with the panel so that we see, because we are in direct contact with all the CBOs, people who come. You know that police station is the first port of call.
Yes.
And sometimes the police don't even know how to address the issue, and then it comes to our rooms.
Yes.
And then sometimes we didn't even know that there is a strategy of this sort that has been put into place.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't even know about the space. So I would really like to get their contact. I've just left my cell number, and I would really like to sit with them, and maybe we can have a way forward, because we know we are in the communities. The people who work in the VEP programs are living within the communities themselves.
Yes. Let's try to wrap it up quickly so that we can give others a chance.
Yes. Yeah. Just saying that the CPF are doing all that they can, but we have trained people that can listen and divert the issues that are related to where and refer them to. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sis Boots, for your call.
Yes.
All right. And now from Soweto, we move into Palaborwa. We're speaking to Joseph. Joseph? Morena Joe? Do we have Joseph? Hello, Joe? Well, Joe decided to be mom. But anyway, Vus is raising quite a very important part, which actually gets into the approach in presenting this action plan to the society, as we are in a process of doing that right now. Of course, we have already introduced it via this radio show. However, you're still going to go on a direct interaction with the communities. Now, she's raising a most important point of actually people who are approachable, accessible, and are able to speak to the people to actually express themselves. From your side, do you work with people like Vusi from Soweto, or are you still going to invite people like her, because she is showing initiative? She's saying, I'm ready, I'm here, use me. Is there an opportunity to work with civil societies like hers? I'm not sure to give Ms. Fransman or Ms. Detoy.
I'll start.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. As was mentioned earlier, we are at the beginning of this process. We
Yes.
do have a structure that has been assisting up until now with the development of the plan and also, with a consultation. But as we said, it is a big project. We want to take it nationally to the lengths and the breadths of the country so that everyone, as many as possible, can know about this. So we have worked with government departments, with civil society, but we are also relying on those partners to bring in the people that they work with. So it's kind of sort of becomes a snowball effect. But also in terms of the the CBOs, and I think with Lifeline, I'm sure there is some connection to social development,
Yes.
which is, for example, also a department that is on our consultation or steering committee structure. So, where we do not get to people, we would very much welcome, and you can see how you can pass our details on to Vusi
Yes.
to talk to her and then see how from her location and level we can, sort of take this thing nationally, or Lifeline surely has a presence across the country, how we can work with them. But we are, welcoming and open to such initiatives.
Yes. Unfortunately, so many questions, so little answers. So much to say, so little time. And if you want to access the draft paper, is it still a draft paper?
Yes.
Okay. If you want to access the draft paper, it's on www.justice.gov.za. www.justice.gov.za. I just gave you a reason to use your smartphone smartly. We carry smartphones around, yet we just receive calls and send messages. Just try it. www.justice.gov.za. Let's see if you'll be the first person to actually even access it on the website. However, the contacts are also on the website, and also Ms. Dutoy, Ms. Fransman, and Ntatema Jaga, you'll also share the contacts of where people can actually, because some people believe in talking to someone. Because once you've written, you feel like, what if it didn't get there? We're still at that age for some people in terms of social media. So, lastly, maybe, where are you going to start? Have you already planned in terms of where you're going to start with the consultations? Can you take us through that quickly, so that we only have 2 minutes and then we can just do a wrap-up?
Thank you, Ms. Sutu. We plan to have a national launch of the consultations, and we will be making that known where the venue exactly. We will do it probably early in March. That's the plan for now. So there will be, in one of the provinces, there will be a big launch of consultation.
We will definitely keep you updated with what Ms. Dutoy is saying. And then the last word, Ms. Fransman, something important you would like to leave the listeners to think about?
Yes, no, we look forward to very more of these kinds of engagements. And as my colleague has said, we will be doing a national launch, but we will also be going to each province at least once, working with other departments to try and reach across the country and have dialogues, events. And if there are events that people are planning in their communities they'd like to invite us to, please let us know. On the Justice website that you've given, there is also a link at the moment for people to send comments on.
Yes.
It is nap@justice.gov.za. And yes, we look forward to further collaboration and making people more aware of this plan.
Okay. Quickly, Ntatema Jaga, your last word and something to leave the listeners to ponder on?
Oh, thank you, Msoto. The only thing I can say to the listeners is to encourage them to come and discuss the plan with us. We need the inputs. We want the experiences on the racial incidents that has happened to them, because these things will influence whatever policy making in the country to make sure that we make their lives better. Thank you.
All right. And where can they contact you, Ms. Dutoy?
I will be so brave to give my phone number.
All right.
It's we will only give this phone number.
Yes.
And it's mine. I'm Elise de Toy at the Department of Justice. The code is 012 for Pretoria, 315-1527.
There you have it. Can we repeat it again?
Yes, 012-315-1527.
South Africa, this is your country. Let us show the world that we can bring peace in our country. Together, we definitely move South Africa forward. Thank you so much for listening tonight. This has been the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development Initiative in partnership with Government Communication and Information System. And thank you to partnering with Community Radio across South Africa, where we are reaching each and every corner of South Africa. South Africans, good night.